este oficiul ambasadei Olandei la Chișinău. Avem plăcerea să-l salutăm pe domnul Roy Hans, însărcinat cu afacerea de interim. Vă rugăm mult!
Your Excellencies, dear participants, Yes. Mulțumesc frumos. Sunt olandez. I'm very honored to speak to you here today. A year ago, the Dutch government launched the initiative She Decides. Ea decide. This is a worldwide movement from dozens of countries that focus on the right of every woman and every girl to decide what to do with her body, what to do with her life, and what to do with her future. It is an initiative that was supported by many countries, including the Republic of Moldova, and now many organizations and many people like yourself are supporting She Decides as well. It is not the only movement that has started in the last year. Undoubtedly, you've heard of the #MeToo movement, or Time's Up, the Hollywood movement that was on the Oscars last Sunday as well. These movements challenge fundamentally us to look at the society that we have created and look at the roles and expectations that we have of women in society. She Decides is about a right of a woman and a child who she can marry, who she can have sex with, if she wants to have children, and how many. She decides, not her husband, not her father, not the priest, and certainly not politicians. The challenges that lie in front of us are, as the Secretary of State said, a bit like winter, and spring will certainly come. The outdated concept of womanhood that is forced upon women and girls in any country, including in Moldova, is oppressive and wrong. The double standards we apply to girls and women is not only if you're a single girl, you don't have a boyfriend, there must be something wrong with you. If you're a mother and you want to have a career, there must be something wrong with you. If you speak out too loudly, there must be something wrong with you. Societies that are inclusive and gender balanced are more successful and more prosperous. The fact that these old dated concepts are still existing makes a society hold back in winter and not move forward to spring. It is high time we have this conversation in all of our societies, from the Netherlands, but also from men and boys, and what you expect from women and girls. Like I said, I'm very honored to speak here, but I'm more honored to listen here today. Having a conversation also starts with listening, and I'll do what more men should do. I'll shut up and I'll listen to the women. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Domnule Roy Hans, vă mulțumim mult pentru mesajul dumneavoastră. Doamnelor și domnilor, formatul dezbaterii noastre este următorul. În prima parte a evenimentului avem alături de noi ambasadoare din mai multe state occidentale care vin să împărtășească din experiența personală și din experiența țărilor din care vin. Și cu permisiunea dumneavoastră le salut pe excelența sa ambasadoarea Suediei în Republica Moldova, doamna Signe Burgstaller. Îi spunem mulțumim pentru prezență doamnei Dafina Gherceva, coordonatoare rezidentă ONU în Republica Moldova. Excelența sa ambasadoarea Italiei în Republica Moldova, doamna Valeria Biagiotti. Mulțumim mult că sunteți alături de noi și o salutăm și pe excelența sa, ambasadoarea Regatului Unit al Marii Britanii în Republica Moldova, doamna Lucy Joyce. Welcome, ladies, and thank you very much for being here today with us. Pentru public, menționez că după întrebările pe care și discuția pe care o avem pregătită pentru ambasadoarele prezente la eveniment, ne așteptăm și la întrebări din sală, pentru că va fi deschisă o sesiune de întrebări, răspunsuri și știu că evenimentul nostru este inclusiv online, inclusiv live pe Facebook, deci de ce nu încurajăm și persoanele care ne urmăresc de acasă, de la birou, pe Facebook, să se implice în discuții. Vă asigur că dacă aveți o întrebare, neapărat o adresez eu, voi fi leantul de legătură. Doamnelor și domnilor, pentru evenimentul de astăzi avem pregătit, avem un vox pop, pentru că am stat de vorbă cu mai multe tinere pentru a afla ce își doresc, care le sunt visele și ce așteptări au de la viitorul lor. Your Excellency, just shortly we have a video vox pop. We will watch it and after that we'll come back for the discussion. Deci vă invit să aflăm ce ne-au răspuns tinerele.
Mă numesc Ionela și am 19 ani.
Mă numesc Amina și am 14 ani.
Mă numesc Echim Alexandrina și am 16 ani.
Cel mai mare vis al meu, desigur, să am o familie sănătoasă, o familie numeroasă.
Visul meu să fiu sănătoasă, să am o carieră de succes și o familie.
Să am un post de muncă, o carieră, un salariu destul de demn.
Cel mai mare vis al meu ar fi să-i ofer mamei mele ceea ce mi-a oferit ea.
Ca visele mele să se împlinească, eu trebuie să depun multă putere, adică mult voință și trebuie să fiu convins în ceea ce vreau să fac eu.
Ca să realizez acest vis, am nevoie în primul rând de susținerea celor apropiați.
Am nevoie și de dorință.
Faptul că sunt fată este un obstacol.
Dacă aș fi băiat, aș avea mai multe posibilități în domeniul angajării la un loc de muncă stabil și mai bun.
Femeile sunt încadrate mai mult în treburile casnice, în îngrijirea copiilor, pe când bărbații sunt cei care aduc bani în casă.
Fiindcă asta e viitorul omenirii. Ca femeile se simte la egal cu noi, să meargă la o linie cu noi, la un drum cu noi.
Если не вкладывать в состояние здоровья, состояние ее психофизиологических данных, состояние ее образования, духовного мира, мир разрушится.
Da, trebuie să investim, trebuie să dăm o educație ca atare, trebuie mult efort să depunem pentru ca tinerile să devină în continuare și femei de afaceri și nu în ultimul rând să devină mame și deci ce vom investi, aceea și vom avea.
Mulțumim mult colegilor de la Centrul Media pentru Tineri. Au fost opinii culese în centrul capitalei, în Chișinău. După cum ați văzut, nu ne-am limitat doar la opiniile fetelor și femeilor, am implicat și bărbați în discuții, deoarece credem noi, egalitatea de gen nu poate fi realizată fără implicarea băieților și a bărbaților, iar despre un cuplu se poate spune că este unul fericit doar atunci când ambii parteneri se sprijină reciproc și își respectă deciziile. Întrebarea este, oare se întâmplă acest lucru în Republica Moldova? Cu permisiunea dumneavoastră am să trec la doamnele ambasadoare și prima ambasadoare cu care aș vrea să stau de vorbă este ambasadoarea Suediei în Republica Moldova, doamna Zigne Burgstaller. Aici am să fac slalom în englez-română, așa că am să vă rog dispozitivele de traducere întotdeauna să le aveți lângă dumneavoastră, pentru că unele întrebări le voi adresa în engleză. Deci, Doamna ambasadoare, veniți dintr-o țară model privind asigurarea egalității dintre femei și bărbați, unde vocea femeilor este auzită, iar fetele au șanse egale să se afirme și să-și construiască viitorul așa cum își doresc. Întrebarea pentru doamna ambasadoare este cum a reușit Suedia să depășească stereotipurile și prejudecățile în acest sens. Your Excellency, you are coming from Sweden, a model country of ensuring equality between women and men, where the voice of women is heard and girls have equal chances to affirm and build their future as they wish. The question is how Sweden managed to ensure the equality of rights.
Yes.
Thank you. First of all, ladies and gentlemen, Madam State Secretary, colleagues, it's a great pleasure to be here today and to participate in this very important event to highlight the importance of gender equality and also to encourage young women to live the lives that they dream of. Now, as for the question, it is true that Sweden has come a long way when it comes to gender equality, but the situation is far from perfect. I don't think there exist any ideal societies yet, at least. But in Sweden, I mean, the gender equality, it is the result of a very proactive political struggle, many policy decisions, and also hard work by a very, very strong civil society. So no changes happen by themselves. So it was all hard, dedicated effort that lies behind it. And many of these changes happened. I mean, the significant changes came about 50 years ago. It was in the 1970s. That's the time when many women entered the labor force. And with the support of a very strong women's movement, they also started to demand, more women's rights, equal pay, better social services, for instance, like affordable child care, and also better representation in political decision-making bodies, like the parliament and the government. So again, I mean, this was a process that, was initiated 5-6 decades ago, and we're still working on it. So it's not that we have achieved a perfect society yet. But today Sweden is governed by a feminist government. This is what the label they call themselves, and we also pursue everywhere in the world a feminist foreign policy. Now, what does this mean? This is a commitment by the Swedish government to try to build a society where everyone, every woman, man, girl and boy have equal rights, opportunities and the power to shape society and their own lives. Now, this can be achieved by a very progressive policy agenda, and also by trying to combat various gender roles, stereotypical gender roles. And it requires, work both equally from men and women. One way of changing gender stereotypes in Sweden has been to encourage both fathers and mothers to stay at home and to take care of the children and be responsible for family and household work. And it was back in 1974 that Sweden, as the first country, changed the gender-specific maternity leave to a parental leave system. So this was a way then to encourage, both fathers and mothers to, share time. That doesn't mean that, it is shared equally today. But what has happened in the meantime, so this is back in 1974, 5 decades ago, reserved months have been introduced. So in 1995, 1 out of the 16 months in total was reserved for either parent, that you couldn't transfer it. And today, that reserved amount of time is 3 months. So out of the 16 months of paid parental leave, 3 months will have to be taken by either parent. You cannot transfer it to the other parent. So this means that, this is a way, of course, to create incentives to have a more equal sharing of responsibilities for home and family. And today about 25% in total of all parental leave is actually then taken by the fathers. And if I may, just on this particular topic, this we think is a very important issue to be discussed, not just in our countries, but we have also brought it here to Moldova, an initiative that we are now implementing together with the United Nations offices here in Moldova to encourage a debate on what it means to be a modern man and to take responsibility for family and stay at home with children, take an active part in your children's upbringing. So we recently launched this photo competition. It's called Taci din Moldova și Svedia. And the deadline just passed, so now 10 winners will be selected, and there will then be an exhibition on this particular theme to be opened in mid-April, which we hope will then also stimulate a public debate here in Moldova on these issues and make everyone reflect upon what it means to be a modern man or a modern father.
Thank you very much for this initiative. I already heard a man here saying maybe I should participate too. So, Your Excellency, what message of encouragement do you have today for Moldovan girls so that they can follow their dreams and realize their potential?
So I would like to address this directly, and I will build upon my statement there. So, vouă tuturor femeilor și fetelor tinere, inteligente și talentate, aș vrea să vă spun. Credeți în voi și luptați pentru drepturile voastre. Nu lăsați pe nimeni să vă spună nu poți face ceva deoarece este o fată sau o femeie. De asemenea, sprijiniți-vă reciproc și folosiți-vă vocea pentru a vă face auzită opinia. Mulțumesc!
Thank you very much. O altă realitate specifică relației bărbați, femei și fete, băieți în Republica Moldova ține de tabuurile persistente în societatea noastră. Un studiu Images realizat în 2015 de partenerii UNFPA Moldova, Centrul de Drept al Femeilor, arată că în familiile din Republica Moldova cuplurile nu prea vorbesc. Deci soții și soțiile nu-și prea vorbesc despre subiecte mai intime, dar care au legătură directă cu situația femeii, cum ar fi, de exemplu, planificarea unei sarcini. Anual în Republica Moldova, și am să vă rog să medităm asupra acestei cifre, 2600 de adolescente, în special din comunitățile rurale și familiile vulnerabile, devin mame. Îmi cer iertare, iar fiecare a 10-a întrerupere de sarcină este efectuată de către o tânără cu vârsta de 15-19 ani. Atunci când o fată adolescentă rămâne însărcinată, viitorul ei pare incert. De cele mai multe ori ea renunță la educație și pe viitor nu se poate angaja, perpetuând astfel ciclul sărăciei. Sănătatea ei, la fel ca și bunăstarea emoțională și psihologică, la fel, au de suferit, deoarece adesea este respinsă de familie, prieteni, societate. Deci ziceam, 2600 de tinere. La prima vedere sunt doar cifre care nu spun nimic, dar închipuiți-vă, multe sate din Republica Moldova au exact această cifră de tinere. Ce putem face pentru a schimba această stare de lucruri și cum Națiunile Unite sprijină țara în prevenirea sarcinilor la adolescente și asigurarea drepturilor egale ale fetelor? O întrebare pe care o voi adresa doamnei Dafina Gherceva, coordonatoare rezidentă ONU în Republica Moldova, care de-a lungul anilor a fost partenerul de nădejde al țării noastre, mai ales în ce privește respectarea drepturilor omului, promovarea egalității de gen și asigurarea unui viitor mai bun pentru tineri. Madame Dafina Gherceva, how does UN support the country, the Republic of Moldova, in ensuring rights of girls, including prevention of adolescents, unintended pregnancy?
Dear friends, ladies and gentlemen, Secretary of State, Excellencies, dear colleagues, I'm also thrilled, I'm very happy, and I feel truly honored to be part of this discussion and to be today with you at this important event, which is dedicated to the rights of girls, women, to the rights of everyone, and which is aiming at stimulating a debate around how we could build a better future in Moldova so that no one will be left behind. Dear friends, we're having this conversation, this discussion at a very opportune time, in the eve of the International Women's Day, which the global community will celebrate on the 8th of March. Perhaps you know that for the first time this day was marked on the 28th of February 1909 when the global community commemorated a movement in support of women's rights. Next year, in 1910, at the International Women Conference, a decision was made this day to be moved to the 8th of March, and since then, every year, we are celebrating International Women's Day. In 1975, UN adopted this day as International Women's Day. So the times we live in, and this has already been mentioned, provide us with a very powerful evidence that shows that the success of each and every country, institution and company depends on the full realization of the potential of both men and women. Data and evidence show that countries where girls and women are actively engaged in political, social and economic life are much more wealthier, prosperous, sustainable and resilient. Therefore, obviously, if we want to live in a more peaceful and prosperous world, we need to make sure that girls and women have a bigger role in it. There is also a very strong utilitarian argument in support of gender equality, since gender equality ultimately contributes to higher level of productivity, higher efficiency and higher effectiveness. So when we are promoting gender equality and women's empowerment, we need to talk the talk of business. Over the past several decades, significant progress globally in Europe and in Moldova has been made towards promoting gender equality and women's empowerment. However, this is still an unfinished business and the road ahead is still a very long one. UN has a history of 26 years in Moldova since Moldova joined the United Nations on the 2nd of March 1992. Over the past 2.5 decades, we have been working jointly with state and public institutions, with civil society, with the private sector, with all relevant stakeholders and development partners on supporting Moldova's transformation into a modern and prosperous state. We have been working on developing a modern legal and regulatory framework, on strengthening the capacity of public institutions for evidence-based policy development and service delivery fully aligned with the norms and principles of human rights and gender equality. We have been working together with our partners on raising awareness, on sensitizing and advocating about the critical importance of full protection and promotion of human rights and gender equality for the social transformation which Moldova is aspiring for. And of course we have been reaching out to those who are left behind, to marginalized and deprived of their rights, girls, women, and other members of communities, trying to understand better what their needs are and also jointly with them to come up with solutions which could overcome the formidable challenges they're facing. When it comes to gender equality and human rights, at the heart and at the center of our efforts are three key areas. Together with our partners, government counterparts, and other stakeholders, we are trying to bridge the employment and pay gap. Since, as you perhaps know, women on average are much less employed than men, and their salaries are less than what men get in terms of remuneration. On average, it's almost 14%, and it reaches up to 26% in sectors such as IT. The second area is to increase women's participation in politics. I am very happy to share with you that together with our partners, we have achieved a tremendous and really remarkable result when in 2016 the new law on gender equality was adopted by the Parliament, and this law makes a provision, or so-called gender quota 40%, and also makes a provision for paternal leave, which is something really commendable, but now we would like to see its enforcement and implementation, which means that this is not yet a finished job. We still continue to work on having this law fully implemented. The third area where we are working on, again, together with our partners, is to combat gender-based violence. Unfortunately, this is a worrisome trend in Moldova. Every second woman has been at least once in her lifetime a subject of multiple forms of physical violence, but only 1 in 3 has reported about this. Only in 2015, 36 women were killed and more than 80 were severely injured as a result of domestic violence. There is also something which is really worrisome, and this is the fact that in society there is relatively high level of tolerance as far as gender-based violence is concerned. According to a recently conducted survey, 42% of men and 15% of women consider that, it is get beaten up from time to time because this is how they should learn to behave better. So this is something which is utterly wrong, and we are working towards changing stereotypes, towards rising awareness and making sure that both men and women, boys and girls have access to equal opportunities and can make their dreams come true.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. Earlier in this video, we saw that many girls in Moldova wish to build a successful career and have good education. Well, with your permission, what was your biggest dream when you were a teenager, and have you achieved it? And what about what would be your advice for the girls who came today from 5 districts of the country to be part of our discussion?
Well, thank you very much for this very good question, which put me on the spot, if you will, but I'll try to share my personal experience. Actually, I had a dream even before I became a teenager. I was a very curious kid, and when I went to school, I was first grade, and I really wanted to travel the world. I never cut class, and I was always hungry for knowledge. I enjoyed going to school tremendously, but I was very lucky because I was always supported and encouraged by my mom and dad. They were always telling me that I have to dream big, I have to fly high, I have to work very hard in order to make my dream come true. So I went to the best high school in Sofia, then university, and then embarked on a career in academia. I was a professor of economics at the Sofia University for several years, and then the Berlin Wall came down, and this meant big changes for me personally and professionally, for my family and for Bulgarian society at large. So I decided to seize the opportunities offered by the changes, and I tried universities in the UK, in US. I was teaching for several years abroad, and then I came back to Bulgaria and decided to further challenge myself, get out of my comfort zone, and start a new career from scratch. So I joined the UN 24 years ago as junior program officer, and since then, over the past 2.5 decades, I've had the opportunity to work in more than 22 countries of Europe and the Commonwealth of Independent States in various capacities: national program officer, senior international policy advisor on governance, local development and capacity development. Then I became the first Bulgarian woman UN resident coordinator in Armenia. Now we are 2, so I'm very happy that there is one more Bulgarian woman who is UN resident coordinator. And then I went to New York as assistant administrator and deputy director of our Bureau of Management, UNDP's Bureau of Management. And 3 years ago I came to Moldova as UN resident coordinator. In terms of my advice to young people in Moldova, well, don't be afraid to take risk. Don't be afraid of failure. Don't be distracted from your goals and your dreams by what others think or tell about you. Have high ambitions, be persistent, and work very hard. I would say that my experience has taught me that success is not about how much money you make. Success is about how much difference you make to people's life. And I would say also that there is no magic to accomplishment. It is all about hard work, right choices, passion and persistence. And just to conclude, I firmly believe that the measure of each and every society should be how it treats its girls and women. The difference between a prosperous state and thriving communities and a failed state and broken communities is the presence of women and girls who are respected and valued.
Thank you very much. A fost doamna Dafina Gherceva, coordonatoare rezidentă ONU în Republica Moldova. O avem alături de noi și pe ambasadoarea Regatului Unit al Marii Britanii, doamna Lucy Joyce. Your Excellency, well, from your point of view and based on your experience, the experience of your country, what can be done to girls, to give girls equal chances for self-realization?
Let me help you.
Thank you. I'm sorry.
Well, first of all, thank you very much. Thank you, State Secretary. Thank you to UNFPA and Rita. And hello to everybody. Hello to colleagues and friends. And thank you for inviting me here today and giving me the opportunity to talk about some of these very important issues related to women's rights and to girls' rights. It's also a great honour to meet some of the young girls, the teachers, the parents and health professionals and other supporters from across the country who are going to share their stories today as well, I think. And I hope I have a chance to actually have a conversation perhaps with some of you after the questions. I mean, I think we know, and I think we've even heard this from Sweden today, that gender parity does not happen overnight. But I think we are making progress as women, and I think we need to continue to push for that. And I think it's now more important than ever. I have heard people say that we're at the sort of high water mark, and from now things will get better globally. Sorry, things will get worse. And I think we need to make sure that we continue to push for progress. And I think one of the ways to do that is to learn from one another, to share our experiences, to look at what has worked in one country and could work in another. Because I think those can give us some shortcuts, and if we share those experiences and best practices, then countries can sort of leapfrog in their progress. I mean, the UK is very much committed to supporting women's rights around initiatives that support women's leadership, women's empowerment. I'm lucky enough to work for an organisation that very definitely supports that, the Foreign Office in London. We've got 60 women ambassadors around the world, and this is in an organisation where up until 1973 you had to resign on marriage. You were considered unfit to serve as an official, once you got married. So that was abolished in 1973, but it's not so very long ago, and it still resonates in our organisation because there are not enough women in senior levels. So, it does take time, but you need to push for these changes. And in fact, the British Foreign Secretary Boris Johnson has recently appointed a special envoy for gender equality. So we've got a huge push on that now. But I also think we need to make sure we include men in this. I'm very pleased to see Roy here and other colleagues from the diplomatic community. Everyone needs to work to deliver these shared objectives. And I think it's very important too for the Moldovan authorities to continue their efforts in providing the best services for the entire population and making sure that people have their say. You have a voice. I think it's very important that you use it in a very positive and constructive way. But do make sure you have your say. And I think events like today are really important for that.
Your Excellency, but what would you wish to the girls and boys who are here today, and actually to the girls or boys from Moldova?
So I think the most important thing is taking the opportunities that you have, and that absolutely starts with education. I think education is the bedrock for a lot of what we're talking about. Education for girls is a virtuous circle, and again, our Foreign Secretary has been talking about this recently. Better educated girls tend to have healthier lives. They participate more fully in the labour market. They tend to have healthier children and healthier families. They earn higher incomes, and ideally incomes equal with the men's incomes. And I think this in turn fuels economic development. It fuels progress. It creates demand. It opens markets. I think women have exactly the same entrepreneurial spirit as men. I've met some great entrepreneurs here. It's really inspirational. And I think, making sure that is encouraged as well. If you have an idea, pursue it. It might be a business idea. It might be a career idea. Whatever it is, if it's your idea and your dream, then I would absolutely say to go for it. I think if you promote women, you promote their rights, you promote values that support that. I think that is a very significant benefit to the whole of society, as Defina was saying. So I think I would like to conclude by saying to young Moldovan women to believe in yourselves, to believe you can dream, to have aspirations and goals. Don't let people put you off. Don't put yourselves off, and don't put yourselves down. Challenge yourselves. If you think I can't do that, challenge yourself. Why can't you do it? Because I suspect you probably can. I think it's very important for everybody, including women, to hold the government to account, to insist on your rights. This legislation has been passed. Insist that it's implemented. Insist that what we've all fought for, what you have fought for, is now given to you. And if not, you have to fight for it and take it. And I think also to continue to improve yourselves, to take opportunities, to create opportunities for yourself, but also for others, those with you and those coming up behind you. I think that's really important. I think that will give you the experience and the confidence. I know one of the young ladies was saying that. The confidence to shape a future for yourself where boys and girls yourselves, but also, your children will have a life free from discrimination and from violence, and can enjoy those lives to the full with human rights respected and with dignity.
Thank you very much for your message. Tradițional vorbind, în familiile din Republica Moldova, băieții sunt educați să fie puternici și să câștige bani, iar fetele să fie sănătoase, gospodine și mame bune. O avem alături de noi pe ambasadoarea Italiei în Republica Moldova, doamna Valeria Biagiotti. Your Excellency, according to the existing tradition and beliefs in our society, boys are often thought to be strong and take care of women and families financially, while girls to be good mothers and wives, take care of the extended family and to be modest. What would you advise to girls who grow up in an environment like that, with such tradition and beliefs, but who have ambitions to realize their full potential?
First of all, mulțumesc, bună ziua, doamna secretar de stat, excelențe, dragii prieteni, eu sunt foarte bucuroasă să fiu aici. And I will now switch to English to answer your question. And indeed, my advice would be for girls and women to follow their dreams, to fight for to achieve what they want, keeping in mind that traditions and culture are, of course, very important. And I come from a country where traditional values are still very important. But it's also something that evolves with time and also evolves through the actions of single people. So I think sometimes we need to get out of our comfort zone, even if other people might think that we are going the wrong way or that we are strange, and just to follow what we want to do. And on this, I would also like to share my personal experience, if you allow, or rather our personal experiences. My husband is also here today. And well, my husband quit his job to follow me. And of course, he now lives in a world of female spouses as the only male spouse when we were in Rome and in New York and here. And of course, in the course of the years, we have received many comments from both women and men from all nationalities, all expressing surprise for this. But still, I think it's something normal that we live without any problems, and so I would also invite you to find the way that best adjusts your ambitions.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much for that. Your Excellency, now we are welcoming your message addressed to all girls and boys from this room and to those who are following us online on Facebook and Privesc.Eu.
Yes, my message may seem a little bit strange compared to what we have said so far, that we need to speak up, that girls and women need to speak up and stand up for their rights. Indeed, I'm also inviting Moldovan girls and women to stand up for their rights and to achieve their potential and their ambitions. But the message I wanted to pass, saying don't be afraid to be kind, is aiming at fighting stereotypes, like the idea that women to be successful must be very aggressive and greedy and selfish, without a family and ready to step up on other people's rights. A little bit, if you have seen the movie The Devil Wears Prada, Miranda, the character played by Meryl Streep. I think such stereotypes can be counterproductive, because many girls and women might think that they will never be able to behave like that, and so they might not be able to fulfill their dreams. So my message is that you can achieve what you want and fight for what you want without changing your nature, without continuing to be kind and attentive to others and generous, just because this is not a sign of weakness or submission. What is important is to be aware of your rights and of your potential, and then you will succeed. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Excellencies, I'm sure that there are many questions and many curious young people, parents and professionals who would like to ask you some questions. Let us hear their views and experience. Eu am avut privilegiul să adresez câteva întrebări scurte, dar sunt sigură că nu am reușit să epuizez tot arsenalul de curiozități, așa că din acest moment mingea este în terenul dumneavoastră. Vă încurajez să adresați întrebări sau, de ce nu, să împărtășiți din experiența dumneavoastră. Vă rog mult! De obicei se face așa, se ridică mâna sus și spune eu vreau microfonul. Mersi mult! Am să rog colegii să ne ajute. Mersi mult! Rugămintea este să vă prezentați. Mersi!
Mă numesc Cătălina. Aș vrea să întreb doamnele ambasadoare despre care este primul pas pentru egalitatea în drepturi în Moldova, în opinia lor.
We had the question translated in English? Okay.
The first step to equal rights in Moldova.
Okay, I can start, and I know my colleagues can fill in. It is not about just taking one step, because you really need to combine, lots of different actions. I mean, it's about, all the strategies and action plans that the government is adopting. But then, it's important that, resources will then be allocated, for these to be implemented. So that's one part of it. Another part is, of course, again, what I mentioned in my initial remarks about the role of civil society. And you really need also to have a very strong grassroots movement, which means you all need to get involved yourself. Don't wait for someone else, to take the action and come up with initiatives or speaking up and so forth. Everyone can contribute to this. And it starts, of course, also in the family. Parents have a very important responsibility. The way, they raise their young boys and girls, and try to be even-handed there, not give boys other has to take its responsibility, also not, strengthening any gender stereotypes. They also, have to make sure that both women and men, young boys and young girls, all their talents, will, fully come to fruition, and from society as a whole. So it's not about one step. It is about all of this taken together, and it also means that everybody can contribute in their own way.
Well, actually, Signe has said it all, so there is not much for me to add. I just would like to say that change cannot be imposed from outside. Change has to come from within a family, within a person, within a community, within a society. So addressing the issue of inequalities and promoting human rights, gender equality and women's rights requires a collective effort. Each and every citizen has rights and responsibilities. So this is our collective responsibility to first and foremost understand why it is so critically important for all of us, boys and girls, men and women, to have equal access to rights, opportunities and choices, and to be able to exercise these rights. And only after we have understood this, we'll be able together to break stereotypes and make sure that all of us reap the same benefits and can fulfill our aspirations and make our dreams come true.
Thank you very much. There you are. You see, there's women's support in action there. I think it's a really good question, and I think, as colleagues have said, it all begins with with one step. But there is a lot behind that. It is a continuous effort which is needed. I think one thing I would like to see here, though, is linked to media and representations of women in media and the way that women are portrayed, including on news and current affairs programmes, and making sure that voices of both men and women, whatever field they're in, whether it's business or politics or other fields, are able to have their voices heard and are able to show what they're doing and be treated with the same amount of respect. I think that's important. Thank you.
Well, thank you, and of course I agree with all what my colleagues said, and I think in the end it's really the first step is composed of many different steps, and it's a mixture of legislation and changing of traditions and culture, which we were referring to before. So it's up to authorities to change and to introduce legislation, but also on us, on each and every individual to make be it boy and girl, to make what she or he can in order to give a small contribution to gender equality.
Thank you very much. Întrebări, experiențe din sală? Da, vă rog, mulțumesc mult.
Mă numesc Nicoleta și aș vrea să le întreb pe doamnele ambasadoare de ce totuși, în opinia dumnealor, se face această diferență în drepturi dintre femei, adolescente și bărbați? De ce există totuși această diferență în drepturi? Adică bărbații sunt situați pe o treaptă superioară față de femei și de ce cred dumnealor că există această diferență?
So the question is why there are difference between women and men? Rights, sorry, the rights that have women and men. Mulțumesc mult, Nicoleta, pentru întrebare.
Well, let me give it a try. I would say that this is more related to perceptions rather than realities. We all, by legislation, by law, we all are equal. We all have equal access to education, to labor market, to healthcare, and so on and so forth. How we exercise our rights depends very much on the way this legislation is being enforced and implemented. It depends very much on how we arise in our families. I mean, what we are taught when we were little. It depends very much on what we learn in school. It depends very much on community leaders, on civil society organizations, how they shape up the life of the society. So it's again a complex issue, and I would say we may perceive us having different rights, but it's about us not standing up and fighting for our rights.
Well, just to add to that, yes, so in terms of rights and by law, you know, it's all equal, but then it's about then also giving the, you know, equal opportunities to young women and men, and here, you know, it's a lot about the gender stereotypes again. I mean, it's about attitudes, it's about behavior, and this is not an easy thing to change, but it has to start somewhere, and I think we mentioned already, you know, the need to do awareness raising about these gender roles, and then have a debate, a discussion about that, and also again, you know, it's about how we raise our kids. You know, are you putting different kinds of expectations? Are you giving different kinds of opportunities to your, you know, children, depending if there are girls or boys? And the same thing for the schools, the teachers. You know, I mean, how are you treating, you know, your young students, you know, so it's a lot of responsibilities in many different levels. So the rights are there, but then, you know, it's about, you know, making sure that both women and men, boys and girls can actually, you know, fully make use of these rights, have equal power to shape then their own lives, but also society as a whole.
Yes, deci, dacă mai sunt întrebări în sală? Da, deci alături de noi este Părintele Maxim Melinte, parohia Ghidighici. Domnia sa, în cadrul Galei Premiilor ONU din Moldova, a luat premiul pentru abordare inclusivă și răsturnarea stereotipurilor din
Bună ziua! Hello! Bună ziua tuturor! Eu aș dori să fac așa o remarcă. Noi foarte des vorbim despre drepturile omului, vorbim despre egalitate de gen și mie, ca preot ortodox, care cumva ar trebui să ducă un mesaj și acest mesaj să fie democratic, tolerant, da? Mi este foarte greu să fac lucrul acesta în societate în care persistă stigmatizare și discriminare. Gen, etnie, origine socială. Eu spuneam anterior că în vacanță de iarnă, împreună cu deja băiatul mai mare, că avem acum așa un a doilea băiețel, cu băiatul mai mare am citit cartea Sunt Malala. Cei care încă nu au citit, vă recomand să citiți neapărat, mai ales fetelor. Mă numesc Malala, eu sunt Malala, acolo diferite, my name is Malala. Această carte vorbește despre fundamentalismul islamic sau islamismul în țările din Orient. Acolo unde se încalcă drepturile fundamentale a fetelor. Ea trebuie să fie fața acoperită, ca să fie femeie, nu neapărat să facă școală, trebuie să stea la bucătărie, să știe să gătească acolo mâncare. Parcă ceva asemănător cu țara noastră, da? Femeie trebuie să seamănă bărbat. Dacă bărbatul trântit pumnul în masă, înseamnă că da, gata. Femeie nebătută, casă nemăturată. Deci noi trăim aceste stereotipuri. Fundamentalismul este și în rândurile ortodoxilor. Și eu astăzi fac apel către toți cei prezenți și lideri de opinie și reprezentanții organizațiilor internaționale care sunt chemați astăzi să schimbe ceva, să spargă tăcere. Noi vedem acest iceberg unde în presă cumva se vorbește despre drepturile omului, despre respectarea drepturilor. Da, acolo sub apă e o problemă foarte mare. Femeile continuă să fie discriminate, mai ales în sate, în biserică. Așa e la noi în biserică. Întâi bărbatul vine la împărtășanie și apoi femeile, da? La mirăi tot așa, întâi bărbat, firmă femeie, da? Femeie la coadă stă. Și multe alte lucruri, da? Mă scuzați că eu vorbesc lucrurile acestea. Mi se rușine să vorbesc nu despre ciclu menstrual, mi-e rușine să vorbesc în genere despre faptul că femeia nu are locul ei potrivit în societatea noastră. Nu mai vorbesc despre guvernare, unde avem foarte puțini doamne și domnișoare care ar putea să schimbe ceva în societate. Și eu astăzi vin cu îndemn, repet, către toți cei prezenți, doamne și domnișoare, directoare, profesoare și domni, tineri, să veniți nu doar cu niște idei, niște propuneri, niște discuții, dar încercați să schimbați lucrul în teritoriu. Nu contează cine sunteți, de unde veniți, cum vă numiți, ce haină purtați, ca mine așa, mai fusta sau un tricou sau cravată la gât. Contează ce faceți astăzi și cum faceți, ca mâine să avem societate democratică tolerantă. Vă mulțumesc pentru atenție.
Părinte Maxim Elinte, vă mulțumim mult pentru curaj și pentru acest mesaj. Da, vă rog.
Bună ziua, sunt Galina Leșco, sunt doctor, specialist în sănătatea adolescenților. Ocazie de a ridica întrebarea stereotipurilor de gen și sunt impresionat, domn părinte, de adresarea dumneavoastră făcută într-un mod foarte profund, uman și de fapt valorile spirituale, conform tuturor, eu am să complementez, dar o să fie o complementare foarte interesantă de pe poziții științifice. Și noi, de fapt, când ne uităm foarte profund, vedem că valorile spirituale merg mână la mână cu datele științifice, când ele sunt veritabile și nu merg ca niște stereotipuri. Una ce vreau să zic eu, analizând datele despre sănătatea adolescenților, fetelor și băieților la noi în țară, băieții noștri incomparabil mai mari decât în multe țări dezvoltate europene, noi conducând niște cercetări care pot fi comparabile la